to the degree that we expand the scope and scale of consciousness, biological and digital, we will be better able to ask these questions, to frame these questions, and to understand why we're here, how we got here, what the heck is going on. And I was trying to sort of understand the meaning of life, reading religious texts and reading books on philosophy. And then actually I ended up reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is actually a book on philosophy, just sort of disguised as a silly humor book, but actually it's actually a philosophy book. A proposal for a worldview or a motivating philosophy, which is to understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. And so that is my driving philosophy, is to expand the scope and scale of consciousness that we may better understand the nature of the universe. Try to be useful. Do things that are useful to your fellow human beings, to the world. It's very hard to be useful. Very hard. Are you contributing more than you consume? Can you try to have a positive net contribution to society? I think that's the thing to aim for. Not to try to be sort of a leader for the sake of being a leader or whatever. A lot of the time, the people you want as leaders are the people who don't want to be leaders. So, if you can live a useful life, that is a good life, a life worth having lived. Scientific method, which I very much believe in, where something is true to the degree that it is testably so. And otherwise, you're really just talking about, preferences or, untestable beliefs or that kind of thing. So it ends up being somewhat of a semantic question where we are conflating a lot of things with the word intelligence. If we parse them out and say, are we headed towards the future where an AI will be able to outthink us in every way? Then the answer is unequivocally yes. And try to also just develop a good general knowledge. So you at least have like a rough lay of the land of the knowledge landscape. Try to learn a little bit about a lot of things. Because you might not know what you're really interested in. How would you know what you're really interested in if you at least aren't doing a peripheral exploration of broadly of the knowledge landscape? And you talk to people from different walks of life and different industries. Primitive brain layer, which is where all of our kind of impulses are coming from. It's sort of like we've got like a monkey brain with a computer stuck on it. That's the human brain. And a lot of our impulses and everything are driven by the monkey brain. And the computer, the cortex, is constantly trying to make the monkey brain happy. I mean, to me, in terms of what consciousness feels like, it feels like consciousness is in a different dimension. But this could be just an illusion. If you damage your brain in some way physically, you damage your consciousness, which implies that consciousness is a physical phenomenon, in my view. The thing is that I think are really quite likely is that digital intelligence will be able to outthink us in every way, and it will soon be able to simulate what we consider consciousness, so to a degree that you would not be able to tell the difference. But just generally, like I said, I would encourage people to read broadly in many different subject areas, and then try to find something where there's an overlap of your talents and what you're interested in. So people may be good at something, or they may have skill at a particular thing, but they don't like doing it. Mm-hmm. So you want to try to find a thing where that's a good combination of the things that you're inherently good at, but you also like doing. You got to learn about things somehow. So reading a broad range, just really read it. At one point when I was a kid, I read through the encyclopedia, so that was pretty helpful. And there are also things I didn't even know existed, a lot. So encyclopedias were digestible, I think, 40 years ago. Maybe read through the condensed version of the Encyclopedia Britannica. I'd recommend that. You can always skip subjects where you read a few paragraphs and you know you're not interested, just jump to the next one. So read the encyclopedia or skim through it. I put a lot of stock and certainly have a lot of respect for someone who puts in an honest day's work to do useful things. And just generally to have not a zero-sum mindset, have more of a grow the pie mindset. If you sort of say when we see people perhaps including some very smart people kind of taking an attitude of doing things that seem morally questionable, it's often because they have at a base sort of axiomatic level a zero-sum mindset, and they, without realizing it, they don't realize they have a zero-sum mindset, or at least they don't realize it consciously. And so if you have a zero-sum mindset, then the only way to get ahead is by taking things from others. If the pie is fixed, then the only way to have more pie is to take someone else's pie. But this is false. Obviously the pie has grown dramatically over time, the economic pie. So in reality, you can have to overuse this analogy. You can have there's a lot of pie.
Yeah,
pie is not fixed.
Yes.
So you really want to make sure you're not operating without realizing it from a zero-sum mindset, where the only way to get ahead is to take things from others. Then that's going to result in you trying to take things from others, which is not good. It's much better to work on adding to the economic pie. Maybe creating, like I said, creating more than you consume, doing more than you. Yeah.